In this video, I want to give you one quick tip how you can live a happier life, a more fulfilling life, and an overall life that you actually enjoy despite what's going on around you. And what people may or may not do that triggers you, but no longer after watching this video. I want to ask you this question. How affected are you emotionally, mentally, spiritually, holistically, physically when it comes to what people around you, and specifically people that you care about, people that you surround yourself with every day, what they do, how they act, what they say? How does that affect you? For a lot of people, we have a tendency to get triggered. You have a tendency to react to what people say, what they do, how they behave. You also notice that you have a tendency that your enjoyment, your life, just how you feel about life can be directly related to what people do or do not do. And here's a quick tip to help you overcome that. What I'm going to tell you is pretty simple. It's actually quite simple, but it's not so easy to practice. And as in most things, knowledge is potential power. If you know something but you don't do it, is it truly power? One of the principal neurolinguistic program is this. Each individual is operating their mental faculties, their mental program, which of course is manifested in the behavior, their actions, their deeds. Each individual is operating at their best capacity, meaning each mind is working in accordance with their mental habitual program. It's working according to their belief system. Each person is doing the best they can with what they have. This does not mean that that person is doing what is right, assuming there is an objective moral standard. So this method or this approach to living a life that's actually more fulfilling, a life that's not so triggered by other people, is not saying that you don't have a preference, that you don't have a moral code, that you don't have a conviction about life and how you should behave and how you should act, what you say, what you should do. All it means is that you understand that people are operating at the best ability they currently have. When you understand that people are doing the best they can what they have, even though it may not be quote unquote well, or it may not be correct, or it may not be healthy. If you know that they're doing the best they can, it helps you to have compassion. Instead of anger, instead of frustration, instead of bitterness, instead of any of these unhealthy negative emotions, especially if these emotions stay chronically within us, you can have compassion. You can have compassion on them because you realize what they need is love. They need guidance. They need some coaching. They need some mentoring. They may need some patience. And instead of having this victim mentality where you constantly are so affected by people around you, you can have a victor mentality. That even though people around you, or maybe it's you towards them, that in these interdependent relationships that we are part of our lives, instead of being so affected by it and triggered and go to bed feeling not so good about life and your joy, you can change that unhealthy emotion, especially something that lingers within your soul for a long time, with another beautiful emotion, which also leads to action. It's that they have compassion. And compassion is so cool because it leads to wanting to do something. And yes, we can have sympathy. We can feel for them. We can have empathy. We can understand what they're going through. But the thing with empathy that is not always the best, if you have too much empathy, is that you take on their issues, you take on their feelings, you take on their emotions, and you feel as they do. It's quite simple. All it is I understand that what they're doing is currently the best they know how. I don't have to agree with their behavior, or actions, or deeds, or statements, but understand that's where they are currently. And then rather having a response that's not constructive and that may actually lead to a negative conflict escalation vortex, you have compassion. And with this compassion comes hopefully patience, love, and grace. And if we all have a little bit more compassion with each other, I would imagine you'll make our day better, our joy better, our relationships better. So think, grow in compassion, and extend that compassion in your contribution to your fellow human being.